there's an element of this bill that is particularly noxious. It's buried in there, which is the Democrats are trying to overturn the Supreme Court's West Virginia versus EPA victory came just a month ago, where the court concluded the EPA didn't have the ability to rewrite our environmental laws to regulate carbon. Apparently, Joe Manchin has cut a deal with Chuck Schumer to slip into this bill language overturning that decision, which empowers the EPA to destroy your job.
All right, so one of the big questions here is, does this crazy bill undo the regulatory socialism restraints that were imposed by the Supreme Court? Joining me now to talk about it, Andrew Wheeler, former EPA administrator. Andrew, thanks for coming on. I went through this. I heard from Ted Cruz, who's a very smart man and a legal scholar. He is on to something. Whether it's precisely, I don't know. I did talk to the Manchin people. They gave me their view. I also talked at some length with Francis Brooke, whom you know, who was our deputy at NEC, who knows a lot about energy matters. So, Andrew, here's what I think I know. That no, the bill doesn't necessarily undo stopping the generational shifts for the so-called clean power plan, Obama's clean power plan. But it does give the EPA far more statutory authority to regulate greenhouse gases, Andy Wheeler, and that is new, and that could be very dangerous. Now, that's what I think I've learned. You tell me what you think.
Yes, and actually, the Supreme Court decision centered around one provision of the Clean Air Act, Section 111, and the Supreme Court said Congress never authorized EPA to reduce greenhouse gases under this section. Mm-hmm. What this reconciliation bill does is give $45 million to EPA to address greenhouse gases under this section, under Section 111, and a number of other sections too, but it specifically says Section 111. So it's a way of trying to get around to give EPA the authority, and I think it's just going to really muddle things up even worse than what we had before. Because there's no authorizing language. There's no actual legislative language telling EPA how to do it. It's just giving them $45 million to do it. Now, that's going to be fought out in the courts because you can't authorize on a reconciliation bill like this. As you know, you can provide money, but you can't provide legislative language. So EPA is going to have $45 million to spend over the next, I believe it's over the next 9 years, and they're not going to have any direction from Congress on how to spend it, except to reduce greenhouse gases. So it's going to make things, I think, a lot worse, a lot more uncertain. This bill has $21 billion in new energy taxes. It's just amazing. I heard you talking to Senator Graham and the 16.4 cents tax on crude oil. This is right after President Biden called for energy holiday, a tax holiday for gasoline. It's almost as though the White House doesn't realize that gasoline comes from oil, because this is going to increase the price of gasoline at the pump. No. You don't do things like this in a recession, which we currently are in.
Well, they know that. They know all about that. They just love to see higher gasoline prices because they think that's going to end global warming, which is a lot of hooey. But, Andrew, let me just come back to this other point.
That's their goal.
This $45 million bucks. I don't know. Does that include the $5 million for ESG reporting also, or is that ESG reporting?
No, that's
separate?
an addition.
Yeah. Okay. So that's another
an addition. There's hundreds of millions of dollars for EPA in this bill.
Right.
There's $5 million for ESG, and there's no direction on. It's supposed to set up a compliance program to make sure that companies are complying with ESG promises. EPA, and I ran the agency for 3 years, and there are some great career staff at the agency, absolutely. But there isn't anybody trained on how to get companies to comply with ESG.
Yeah.
That's just outside of the realm of their expertise. For $5 million, they might be able to hire some people to do that, but it's just a waste of money.
Well, I guarantee you they'll try. But look, it just seems to me, now listening to you, Ted Cruz may be closer to the truth because there was no congressional statutory authority for EPA to regulate greenhouse gases. Now,
correct,
they've got whatever you're saying, this $45 million to do what? To research it? I mean, they're going to do something with it. They're going to carve and leverage their way in, especially this Biden crowd. You know that. So this may be running counter to what the Supremes said.
It is. It's certainly trying to. They're trying to go as far as they can. And I have to say, you know, the West Virginia versus EPA case was really important to the people in West Virginia, because it really went to the livelihood of so many people in the state. And I knew that Congress would try to overturn the West Virginia versus EPA Supreme Court case. I just didn't think it would come this soon from a senator from West Virginia.
Right. Who would have thunk that? That's a very interesting political point. Well, look at everything else in here is against fossils. I mean, it's the same old tune. War against fossils. We're going to talk about it. We have Senator Kevin Cramer coming on next up, or in a little while. So, you know, we got here high taxes and all this spending on climate change. You know what's so interesting, Andrew Wheeler? I saw some interesting comments by Bjorn Lomborg, who's a friend of ours. He studies all this stuff. He's not a climate denier, but he said no one has really said how all this spending on climate change, quote unquote, the Green New Deal, quote unquote, how's that going to affect really the planet's temperature? Because none of this stuff affects China or Russia or India or Africa, who are all, you know, trying to come up in the world, et cetera, et cetera. And we're really not the problem. So what's this money for? It's just political boondoggling and pork barreling.
It is. And there are so many other things to improve the environment that we could be spending money on today. You know, when I was at the agency under the Trump administration, we instituted the first update to the lead-copper rule for pipes. This is for drinking water. This is what happened in Flint, Michigan. And when we mandated testing in schools and daycare centers, and that has been dropped by the current administration. They haven't really moved that forward at all. There's a lot of money that could be spent to make sure that our children have safe drinking water and to get the lead pipes cleaned up. That would be an immediate environmental improvement, and particularly for low-income families, because so many low-income neighborhoods are impacted by lead in drinking water. There's so many other things that this funding could be spent on to improve the daily lives and across the country, but also in communities in West Virginia.
Yeah, even without a $750 billion tax increase. Andrew Wheeler.
Yes.
Thank you, my friend. We appreciate the interpretation. Thank you very much.